3 months ago, a senior engineer at Amazon thought she'd finally hit the peak of her career. The title, the salary, the respect, everything she'd been chasing. Then the layoff notice came. But here's what shocked her most. It wasn't losing the job. It was realizing that after 5 years of grinding through 60-hour weeks, the market was so utterly saturated with laid-off tech talent that she couldn't land anything else. 50 job applications sent. Every single one met with radio silence. She wasn't just burned out anymore. She was devastated, heartbroken, wondering if her career was over. And she's not alone, not even close. Amazon's latest wave of cutbacks is creating a massive domino effect across the entire tech industry. But the real story isn't hidden in the spreadsheets and the numbers. It's in the human cost. Broken careers, shattered confidence, workers asking themselves if they'll ever recover, if they'll ever feel secure again in their field. Today, we are looking at what happens when massive layoffs hit a job market that's already drowning in talent. We're exploring the emotional toll, the career stagnation, and why this moment might reshape how tech workers think about job security forever. This is the story the headlines are only just beginning to tell. Amazon didn't invent the layoff, but over the past few years, they've perfected it. We're not talking about a couple hundred people. We are talking about thousands waves of layoffs that started back in 2022 and haven't really stopped. First, it was warehouse automation. Then it was corporate bloat. Then it was the whole AWS division taking a hit. By the time 2026 rolled around, Amazon had let go of more than 18,000 people across the company. That's not some typo. 18,000 people. Now you might think, well, that's a company with 370,000 employees, so it's manageable. But here's where it gets complicated. All those laid-off tech workers flooded into a job market that was already struggling. 5 years ago, if you got laid off from a big tech company, you'd have offers by Friday. The talent was in short supply. But something changed. Other companies started laying off too. Meta, Google, Microsoft, Twitter. Every tech company decided 2023 was the year to right size. Suddenly the market wasn't hungry for talent anymore, it was drowning in it. And Amazon just kept hiring and firing, like they were trying to find some perfect number that didn't exist. So what does it actually feel like when you're caught in this cycle? The article talks to real people who describe it as heartbreak, not just disappointment or frustration. Actual heartbreak, because these weren't lazy workers, these were people who'd invested everything. Senior engineers with 5, 10, sometimes 15 years at Amazon. People who'd skipped family dinners for quarterly targets. Who'd moved their families across the country for this job. Who genuinely believed they were building something important. Then one day you're in a meeting you thought was about your promotion and you hear those words. Your position is being eliminated. That's when burnout transforms into something much darker. Before the layoff, you're exhausted but you think it's worth it, you're climbing. After the layoff, you realize the entire ladder wasn't real. It was just keeping you busy while Amazon figured out how to replace you. Then comes the searching phase. The endless rejection emails. The brutal realization that your 15 years of experience doesn't matter because 5,000 other engineers are competing for the same role. That's when frustration turns into despair. That's when people start seriously questioning whether they should stay in tech at all. But here's where it gets worse. These workers realize this isn't personal. It's structural. The system itself is broken. One Amazon engineer profiled in the article spent 8 years climbing the corporate ladder. Started as entry-level software developer, worked up to senior manager overseeing 40 people, promoted every 2 years like clockwork. His parents were proud. His kids wore Amazon shirts to school. He thought he was set for life, maybe CEO track someday. Then during a reorg, his entire team was absorbed and his role was redundant. 8 years of loyalty. Gone. He spent 6 months applying to Google, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, nothing, not even interviews. Eventually took a senior role at a mid-sized startup paying 30% less. Another story describes a woman already burned out from 80-hour weeks on unrealistic targets. When the layoff came, it felt like betrayal wrapped in a corporate memo. 3 months later, still searching, still devastated. The emotional toll is massive. People aren't just worried about money, they're experiencing identity loss. These aren't statistics. They're people whose entire sense of self was built on being an Amazon engineer, and now that's been taken away. And they are far from alone. This is happening across dozens of companies to hundreds of thousands of people simultaneously. Here's where this becomes different from layoffs of 5 years ago. Back then, getting laid off from Amazon meant you had options, real options. Your competitors were actively hiring. Your resume opened doors instantly. 5 years at Amazon meant you were a hot prospect. Now, getting laid off from Amazon is almost becoming a liability because everyone's been laid off from tech. Your resume doesn't make you stand out. It makes you part of a crowd of hundreds of thousands all trying the same thing. You're overqualified for available positions, but underqualified for the premium senior roles you actually want. It's like going from being a professional athlete looking for a coaching position and suddenly finding yourself in a pool with every other professional athlete doing the exact same thing. The supply-to-demand ratio completely flipped. 5 years ago, it was scarcity. Now it's a glut. And when supply massively exceeds demand, employers stop paying premium rates. These workers aren't just struggling to find jobs. When they do find them, they're making less money for more competitive positions. It's a lose-lose situation. The market has fundamentally changed, and most people haven't fully accepted what that means yet. So what does this mean for the tech industry going forward? First, we are seeing a fundamental change in how workers think about job security. Working at Amazon used to mean safety, stability, amazing benefits. Now it's a reminder that nobody's safe. Not senior managers, not long-tenured employees. That changes career decisions. Why climb at one company for 8 years when you could learn for 2 years then jump? That brain drain is already happening. Second, this creates a confidence crisis. When educated, well-paid workers struggle to find jobs, it sends a message. Your skills aren't as valuable as you think. That's destabilizing. Third, Amazon is learning what happens when you build growth at all costs, hiring into your DNA, and then need to right size. The damage isn't just financial, it's reputational. The company that spent years promising we hire the best is now infamous for we hired too many and now we're devastated. That's going to affect recruiting for years. Every engineer thinking about applying to Amazon now has these stories in their head. And finally, this entire situation is forcing the industry to confront an uncomfortable truth. Tech's boom and bust cycle is unsustainable, and someone has to pay the cost. So far, it's been the workers. If you're in tech and worried about this, here's what resilient people are doing. First, diversify your skills and income. Don't put everything in one company. Build side projects. Learn adjacent skills that make you more marketable. A back-end engineer who understands design or can operate across different languages, you're harder to replace. Second, network constantly, even when you're not job hunting. The article profiles people who found roles through connections, not job boards. Build genuine relationships. Join communities. Contribute to open source. Make yourself known through the value you create, not just your title. Third, document your impact with hard numbers. How much money did you save? How much did revenue grow? How many people did you lead? Numbers win in interviews. Fourth, be willing to take lateral moves or slightly lower titles if it means landing somewhere stable with better culture. The stigma around taking a step back is overblown. A mid-size company that values you is worth way more than a megacorp that sees you as expendable. These strategies won't guarantee you'll dodge layoffs, but they'll make you significantly harder to break when adversity hits. That's the new reality of tech careers. Here's the hard reality Amazon's layoffs are forcing everyone to face. Job security in tech is over. Maybe it never existed. We are watching the tech industry mature out of its growth at all costs phase into something more brutal and realistic. For years, companies treated hiring and firing like a game, massively overstaff, work people to exhaustion, then cut ruthlessly when numbers dip. That worked when the market was booming and young workers sacrificed everything. But that era is ending. You can't burn through thousands of people without burning your reputation, culture, and ability to attract talent. Amazon's workers didn't just lose jobs, many lost their career trajectories, confidence, belief in the industry. That's a real cost that won't show up on any balance sheet. What to watch? How fast the market absorbs these workers, whether replacements actually perform better or just cost less. Whether Amazon's actually more profitable from these cuts or just cheaper. Those answers matter. But for workers rebuilding in this saturated market, the answer's already clear. It's not the one Amazon hoped. So if you're in tech right now, protect your options. Build your network. Diversify your skills, because nobody's coming to save your career except you. That's the lesson from Amazon. That's the future of tech work.